Hello one and all, this is Soulful Lordy, James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions. This time around, Judgment, exclusively for the PlayStation 4. Judgment is another entry in the long-running narrative that is the Yakuza franchise, the universe, the general feel, especially when you return to Kamurocho. But instead of being Kazuma Kiryu as you've been in multiple Yakuza games, this time you take the role of Takayuki Yagami, who is a small-time private investigator living in Kamurocho. For longtime fans of the Yakuza series, this will be returning to your old stomping grounds, as Kamurocho is presented pretty much in the same way that it was in Yakuza 6 and some of the earlier Yakuza games, though with some modifications here and there in correlation with the time. With the game being released in 2018 in Japan, it is set actually in 2018. As Yagami, you go about not only solving cases and crimes and trying to figure out what's going on when a series of Yakuza connected to the Tojo clan come up dead with their eyes taken out. And it's up to Yagami to figure out what's going on, who could be involved, and how to bring them to justice. And this is what really differentiates Judgment from the rest of the Yakuza games, because the majority of the Yakuza games, the answers to every question is solved through violence. But in regards to Judgment, certain questions can be talked through and figured out through conversations, through correct choices picked by the player in succession when presented the opportunity for Yagami to ask his own questions. There's also investigation mode where Yagami has to scour certain areas and find clues to figure out how he can get whatever he's trying to get accomplished done in the most effective and evidence-heavy manner. Now, this wouldn't be a Yakuza-style game without some gameplay, without some fighting, without some battle mechanics. And Yagami is a very skilled hand-to-hand combatant, though he is very different from pretty much any character that has been presented in a Yakuza game thus far. He has two distinct styles, the Crane style and the Tiger style, with the latter being more concentrated for single fights or boss battles, and the prior being better for taking on a group of enemies, though both are a little bit slower than expected, especially considering the lightning fast speed of Kiryu, especially when you level him up. But it's still got that Yakuza feel. If you played previous Yakuza games, you will easily get the hang of the battle system. The biggest issue I've had with the battle system, and it actually ties into what happened with Yakuza 6 when they first released that, is that the targeting still feels off. There are times when Yagami will kind of swing wildly and even miss opponents when you don't understand why that's happening. And then there are times when it's a little bit harder than you would want it to be to evade attacks in a quick manner, which makes it easier to get hit compared to the previous Yakuza games. A lot of the stuff that was seen in the previous Yakuza games returns here, including Club Sega, the big arcade venue where you can play a host of great classic Sega games. There are drones to not only investigate but also to race. There's a dating system, there's a friendship system, there's of course eating, and the copious amount of skills and abilities that Yagami can learn by gaining special points from winning battles and completing missions. If there's one big thing that might turn off some Yakuza fans or players of the genre in general, compared to Yakuza, Judgment is a much slower, story-heavy game. And by that, as we know, Yakuza games are also very story-heavy as well, but unlike Yakuza, when you walk down the street in Judgment, there's actually a good chance you may not even encounter a random battle. Judgment is more based on the idea of the story first. And if you enjoy the Yakuza games for the grandiose battles, I think that this may not do it for you. But if you do enjoy that, if you do enjoy the narrative, if you do enjoy the way they present stories in the Yakuza franchise, Judgment has that and then some. Overall, to me, if you enjoyed previous Yakuza games, more so for the story than the action, this game is perfect for you. If you're a fan of the Yakuza franchise and are on the fence, give it a rental. So there you have it. This has been Soulful Lordy, James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions. Judgment, exclusively for the PS4. Now if you don't mind, I have another case to solve, and it involves me playing a lot of arcade games, or maybe getting my friend that toy he always wanted, or maybe even helping some random clerk converse with an English speaking individual. And as she realizes that I'm so fluent in English, she will have no choice but to say, "Oh lordy."